We need to talk about how Markiplier's independent horror film could change Hollywood. Because if you don't know, Markiplier, he's a huge YouTuber, he's kind of one of the OGs. And his new movie, Iron Lung, which is based on a video game, just released over the weekend, and it made around $18 million domestically, putting it in second place behind Sam Raimi's Send Help. And this is absolutely huge, right? Because he did this himself. There's no studio, no distributor behind the film. He pulled this off alone. And in fact, initially, Iron Lung wasn't even gonna get a very wide release, but based on fan demand, it wound up on 4,000 screens. Right? Markiplier just told fans, hey, call your local theaters, request they play it, it would be great, and that turned into a massive campaign and eventually a massive release. With Mark later explaining, they just went to town on it. That's what makes me tear up. They leapt at an opportunity to help me, and that's what I'll never forget. That's why I'll always swear by YouTube and internet content creation as a platform. And adding, I don't care about making a profit on the things that I do for this. I'm able to afford to take these chances that a lot of people aren't able to take. I was perfectly content if it never got past 50 theaters, which for an independent release is not bad. If it went to 100, I thought maybe I could get it to 200. I'd be happy with that. And then obviously it ended up playing in many, many more theaters. And actually for a second there, Iron Lung even seemed like it was gonna come in at the top spot because at the Friday box office, he led on that day with a $9 million haul. But then I'll say it ended up getting weird, right? His stats became temporarily harder to track as some box office charts just stopped listing his film, with Markiplier even saying on Instagram,
so this Saturday, right? I swear I was on this list, but Iron Lung isn't here anymore. There's no numbers for Iron Lung. They took me off the chart. And I thought, hey, maybe that's a fluke. maybe there's something wrong, but here's Sunday. I wake up this morning, which reports the day before his numbers. I'm gone. I'm not even above Hamnet. Why'd you take me off the chart? I feel like I deserve to be on the chart.
And so that actually turned into a lot of backlash and conversation from people who thought, an independent creator was being snubbed and iced out by the mainstream. But also you had Forbes saying that it was likely that it was maybe some sort of a glitch. Or because Iron Lung's now back on the charts and on Box Office Mojo, which is the most used chart, it apparently never left in the first place. And last night, while it seemed like it was a neck and neck race for the weekend top spot between the two films, he really tried to push people to keep the momentum up.
Sam Raimi chasing me up my own ass. It's the final hour. So if you got some free time tonight and you want to see Iron Lung, tonight would be the night to make it count. And then Disney won't have the #1 movie for the 10th week in a row.
In the end, Send Help beat Iron Lung in both domestic and international sales, which Markiplier said, he kind of knew was coming.
I milked it a lot. I said it. It was very funny. I knew that Sam Raimi's movie was going to pass me eventually by the end of the weekend.
But still, for tons of reasons, you could argue that Markiplier is still the bigger success story here. I mean, for one, Mark didn't have 20th century studios behind him. Also, two, when you bring in the international sales, he made nearly $22 million on a $3 million budget, which is just crazy. And so far, it looks like the fans are loving it, right? It has an 89% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And while some have compared that to its 50% critic score, you've had people, including Mr. Beast himself, noting the sample size is too small and why I think the popcorn score is a better metric if you're trying to see if something is worth watching, in my opinion. Which I'll say, for what it's worth, it isn't unusual for smaller films to have a more limited pool of critic reviews for a tomato score. Though I will say with this pop of success, we should expect more reviews for Iron Lung to start rolling in that aren't listed on Rotten Tomatoes right now. Right now, because this movie is being seen as such a success story, you have outlets like Forbes saying this may represent a future of filmmaking where more creators dabble in the space and drag their fan bases along with them. You also have Mark hoping that it serves as a push for indie filmmaking in general, that it shows that there is an audience for it, and even critics adding, hoping that Iron Lung is the final nail in the coffin of that whole young people don't want to go to the movies mishigas. If anything, it proves that next-gen audiences would rather think of YouTube as a pipeline for movie theaters than a potential replacement for them.